So President Cyril Ramaphosa will be hosting European Union officials as South Africa strengthens its relations with this bloc. The EU is South Africa's largest trading partner after the US. Today's engagement takes place against the backdrop of increased concerns around global economic challenges spurred on by tensions and war. Watching the story for us is SABC News reporter Khayelihle Khumalo, who joins us now via video link. And Khayelihle, this particular engagement is taking place off the back of fresh tariffs from the EU against the US over steel and aluminium. All of this, of course, feeding into those tensions I referred to earlier on.
Well, that's right. And an incredibly volatile situation globally. And really just to quote Dr. Khayelihle van der Leyen, of course, that's the European Commission president, saying that these tariffs really are very unjustified and EU is going to retaliate in terms of really imposing these tariffs against the US. But I think for these two partners, what is important is really just making sure that they strengthen their ties, especially given all these tensions that you have. South Africa is one of the 10 countries in the world to have a strategic partnership with the European Union, which is quite a very formidable bloc. We're talking here about a single market with over 27 economies and the single currency. So there's quite a very massive really market to really explore for the South African authorities. So when we spoke to the presidential spokesperson, Mr. Vincent Magwenya said for South Africa, what is key is to consolidate this relationship, to explore the new areas of cooperation, as you know that it's been standing for some time. But also what is very essential for these two partners is really to make sure that they build on a very firm foundation that they have, looking at a myriad of issues, whether it's trade, investment, the green and digital transition, security and defense, energy, critical raw materials cooperation. It's a very key area as well, and will have to be around skills development and education. And obviously undeniable other key global issues. As you know, that Europe is under immense pressure. There is that raging conflict in Ukraine, and we saw those developments in Jeddah between Ukraine and the US, where there was an agreement, at least for that 30-day ceasefire. But of course, we still await a response from Russia, which is saying they will really just treat all of this with caution. So really, the agenda is quite important and very, very vast.
Absolutely. The program itself, I understand, is going to end at around 5 o'clock this afternoon. Walk us through the geography of this engagement throughout the day.
Well, that's right. So it's going to be a fairly late program, starting around 2 p.m. That's when the leaders will arrive. Of course, President Cyril Ramaphosa will be co-chairing alongside the President of the European Council, that's Antonio Luis Santos da Costa, alongside the President of the European Commission, Dr. Khayelihle van der Leyen. And obviously, this is quite a very important meeting. So they call it a trilateral meeting, given the very significance of this meeting. Then they will have an opportunity where they will have these engagements. And I would imagine, another very key issue that the leaders will really look at is the current situation in sub-Saharan Africa, the conflict we have in the continent, whether you're looking at the current escalation in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, especially for South Africa. And as you know, that South Africa is one of the very key players in terms of trying to mediate and bringing peace there. And as you know, that prior to this engagement, the SADC leaders as well will have an opportunity to have a virtual meeting where they will receive a report. It's going to be chaired by the Zimbabwean President, Emmerson Mnangagwa, who's currently the chairperson of SADC. So it's quite a very busy day for South African authorities, but a very, very important time for South Africa and EU. We know that this has been preceded by that political dialogue between Minister of International Relations, Ronald Lamola, alongside the EU Foreign Policy Chief, Kaja Kallas. In fact, they met in February, right in Cape Town, also just the very same issues. And it was quite interesting, once again, to hear a very unwavering support for South Africa's G20 presidency, but also where they reaffirmed the support for multilateralism, especially in these times, and where there is a rise of populism, the geopolitical instability, among other global challenges.
Absolutely difficult, of course, to imagine a scenario where they don't speak about the developments coming out of the White House, but we'll wait and see how all of that unfolds. For now, Khayelihle Khumalo, live to us there from Cape Town.